morning, everybody, and welcome to the farm. The animals are very excited this morning. I'm about to show you the new duck coop, so let's get started. Real quick, let's go back and look at what it looked like before we rebuilt it. It used to be Eric's first chicken coop. Truthfully, the only thing we kept from the old build was the 4 beams on the outside. So let's talk about what all of the new features are. Okay, so this is the front of our duck coop, and I just wanted to show you how these work. We just have 2 ginormous doors because, as I'm sure you are probably already aware, ducks are very messy. So you're going to need really good access to the inside of your coop so that you can clean it often and you can clean it thoroughly. So we just have these little tiny spring latches, and then my husband, of course, being the awesome builder that he is, built these really big doors that just swing out real easily. On the inside, it's just a nice open covered space. We have a very sandy soil, so I just left the sand in the bottom because that will absorb the water that comes off of them really well. But during the winter time, which is coming up here very soon, I will put shavings in the bottom to help absorb some of that moisture. So some changes we made to the old coop was, obviously the old chicken coop was raised off the ground, so we just cut all of the posts down, removed all of the old siding, put on new siding, left the posts, brought the coop all the way to the ground. So some reasons for this is, obviously these ginormous ducks are not going to be very good at climbing, even if we left them a really big ramp up into the coop. So another very important feature is on either side we left the siding not going all the way to the top. We did that in order to make sure that there was always a place where air can escape and there can be airflow through this coop. Again, one of the most important parts, as I'm probably going to repeat a lot, is water with these ducks. So they're going to be wet even when they go to bed at night, and it creates a lot of humidity in their coop, which even during the winter is really not good for them. So they always need airflow through their coop in order to stay healthy and dry. Another thing is that they're a little bit bigger than your chickens, so we left them a very large opening to easily get in and out of this coop. I also want to point out that we repurposed sheet metal from an old build for this new coop. We slanted the roof to make sure that water drained the correct direction. So let's of course talk about the duck pond. We built up a ramp so that our ducks could easily step into the little tiny water trough that we're using as our duck pond. It's actually very deep so that they are able to swim around and not touch the bottom, which is important for our breed of duck, which are silver appleyard ducks. It's not necessarily that important that every breed of duck to have access to deep water, but for ours it is good for their health and reproduction. So we also, because it is deep water, we built steps for them to get out of their pond, out of pavers. These pavers are old, which means that they don't have any kind of sharp edges. They're all rounded on the corners and everything to make sure that their feet would not get cut. Also, you'll notice that around our pond we have river rocks. The reason we're using river rocks instead of gravel or even mulch of different kinds is so that their feet do not get hurt. Their little duck feet are very sensitive, and you do not want anything that is hard or sharp that can cause cuts that will easily get infected on their poor little duck feet. Okay, I wanted to talk a moment more about the duck pond. It has a very large drain outside of the entire duck enclosure. So this is the way that we will drain and then refill the pond. We may someday build our own DIY tank filter, but for now, just as we put the ducks in for the very first time, this is what we're going to do. Another important feature of this duck coop is in the other corner, where we have another water bucket for the ducks. This one is just for drinking. We have it set up on pieces of wood so that they can't get into it and get this water all dirty. Also, it has river rock around it so that when they do splash around, it won't get this area all muddy. So this will be the thing that we empty every day when we come to collect eggs. We are not planning on emptying the pond more than once a week. So we're hoping that this keeps it rather low maintenance, especially considering we own ducks. Okay, then directly in the center of this coop, this is a very tall coop made out of metal hoops, and we planted a dwarf mulberry tree. This is going to provide a lot of shade, and when the mulberries fall off, they can also, that is perfectly safe for them to eat. So I really hope that they love this addition. We did, as you can see, put a cage around it. This was repurposed. It was obviously not made to protect this tree, but it's doing a really great job. Until this tree gets established, we do not want the ducks to be able to eat all of the leaves off of it, because obviously they would. You will also notice it looks a little bit rough in the bottom of this coop, but we have a very sandy / clay soil, so I wanted to just leave that. It's a really great bottom for their coop. There's also just some weeds and grass growing in it. I did look through it and make sure that there was nothing that was going to be poisonous or harm the ducks in any way, and they're really enjoying eating it. I'm sure they will eat it all. There will probably be nothing green in here in just a few short weeks, but I hope they enjoy it while it lasts. I hope they enjoy all the bugs that are in here. It's gonna be fun in here. They really, really have enjoyed it.